The shuttle door hissed open, and Cadet Lily Grant stepped into the Galactic Academy training hall. Every eye turned toward her, hundreds of them. Some had 4 eyes, others had compound lenses that glittered like broken glass. A few species she couldn't even identify yet, their faces too alien to read, but she could feel the judgment radiating off them like heat. "Another human," someone hissed in the back. The translation implant in her ear rendered it perfectly. "They keep sending more of these fragile things." Laughter rippled through the assembled cadets. Not polite chuckling, real, cruel laughter. Lily's jaw tightened. She walked forward, boots echoing on the metal floor. The Academy Hall stretched 3 stories high, built to accommodate species ranging from the insectoid creche to the massive thorians who stood nearly 12 feet tall. Everything here was designed to make humans feel small. And it worked. She found her assigned spot in formation and stood at attention. The cadet beside her was a Vraxian, all scales and muscle, easily twice her mass. He glanced down at her and snorted, hot breath washing over her face. "You are in the wrong place, soft skin," he said. His voice was deep, resonant. "This is the combat track. Administration is on level 3. More laughter. Louder now." Lily stared straight ahead and said nothing. The training master strode onto the platform. Commander Vector, a decorated Thorian war hero with scars that told stories of a dozen campaigns. His forearms crossed over his chest as he surveyed the recruits. "Silence!" he boomed. The room obeyed instantly. "You are here because your worlds believe you have potential. Some of you will prove them right. Most of you will fail, and a few of you will die." He let that sink in. "Physical assessment begins now. When I call your designation, step forward and demonstrate your species' primary combat advantage." Names began echoing through the hall. A creche cadet showed her ability to phase through solid matter. A Thorian bent a steel bar with his bare hands. A Siltarai cadet moved so fast she became a blur. Then Vector's eyes fell on Lily. "Human. Cadet Grant, step forward." The laughter started before she even moved. She walked to the center of the demonstration area, her heart hammering but her face calm. "Humans have no natural weapons," Vector announced to the assembly. "No armor plating, no venom, no enhanced strength or speed. They are perhaps the least physically impressive species in known space." He looked at her. "Show them what you have, cadet. Entertain us with human weakness." Lily reached up and pulled off her uniform jacket. Then she turned her back to the crowd and lifted her shirt to expose her shoulder blade. The laughter died instantly. Silence crashed over the hall like a wave, because there, inked into her skin in precise detail, was a symbol every species in the galaxy knew, every warrior recognized, every soldier feared. The mark of Terra's first war. Commander Vector's expression shifted. All 4 of his arms uncrossed slowly, deliberately. His eyes, which had held casual dismissal moments before, now burned with something else entirely. Recognition. "That is not possible," he said quietly, but his voice carried across the silent hall. "That mark has not been given in over 2 centuries. Lily lowered her shirt and turned to face him. Her voice was steady. "It was given to my family line, passed down, earned in blood on Kelmar Station when humanity first encountered the Bryn Hive." A collective intake of breath swept through the cadets. The Vraxian who had mocked her earlier took an involuntary step backward. Everyone knew the story of Kelmar Station. It was taught in every military academy across 300 worlds. The Bryn Hive, an unstoppable swarm that had consumed 17 civilizations, had finally been stopped at a single human outpost. Not through superior technology, not through natural advantages, through something the galaxy had never seen before. "The last stand," whispered a Thorian cadet in the third row. "Impossible. Those humans are legends. My great-great-grandmother was part of the engineering crew," Lily said. She spoke to Vector, but her voice filled the chamber. When the Vryn breached the station, Command ordered evacuation. But the reactor was set to overload. If it blew, it would have taken out the colony world below. 3 million Siltari civilians. She stepped forward. The Siltari weren't even allied with humanity yet. We'd only met them 6 months before. But my ancestor and 42 other humans stayed behind. They held that reactor room for 16 hours against a force that had crushed armies. Vector's mandibles clicked together, a sign of deep respect among Thorians. 16 hours, 43 humans. Against the Hive. 43 humans with mining tools and maintenance equipment, Lily corrected. They fought with welding torches and pipe wrenches. They sealed themselves in and refused to leave. Every one of them died, but they saved those 3 million Siltari. And they stopped the Hive long enough for the fleet to arrive. The hall remained silent. The Siltari queen herself came to Terra, Lily continued. She marked the survivors' families with her own hands. This tattoo isn't decoration. It's a blood oath. Every generation of my family has served. Every generation has proven that humans might be weak in body, but we do not break. A Siltari cadet in the front row suddenly dropped to one knee. Her crystalline skin shimmered with emotion. "I am descended from Kelmar Colony," she said, her voice thick. "My entire bloodline exists because of that stand. We are taught your family name in our cradle songs." Other cadets began to shift. The mockery in their eyes had vanished, replaced by something between awe and uncertainty. Vector stepped down from the platform. He moved slowly, his massive frame towering over Lily. But when he spoke, his tone had changed completely. "I fought alongside humans once," he said. "During the Breach Wars, I watched 3 human soldiers hold a corridor against a Krell assault team for 7 minutes. They had no chance of survival. They knew it, but they bought time for a civilian transport to escape." He paused. "I have seen species with natural armor torn apart in seconds by Krell weapons. I have seen warriors with enhanced strength broken like twigs. But I have never seen anyone fight like humans fight when they decide something is worth dying for." He raised one massive hand and placed it on Lily's shoulder. "You will not be underestimated in my command. Not anymore." The Vraxian who had insulted her earlier approached hesitantly. His scales had shifted to a darker hue, a sign of shame in his species. "I spoke without knowledge, human. I dishonored myself." Lily met his eyes. "Then train with me. Learn what humans can do. Help me learn what Vraxians can do. We're all here for the same reason." Vector turned to address the assembled cadets. "New lesson for all of you. Physical advantages mean nothing if you lack the will to use them. Humans taught the galaxy that lesson at Kelmar Station. They taught it again at the Breach Wars. And they will teach it here." He pointed at Lily. "This cadet will be squad leader for Combat Team 7. Anyone who wishes to challenge that appointment may do so now in the combat ring." Nobody moved. The first real test came 18 hours later in the Deep Space Combat Simulator. Combat Team 7 stood in the briefing room while Vector outlined their assignment. Lily had barely slept. Her new squad had spent the night watching her, measuring her, trying to figure out if the legend tattooed on her back meant anything in actual combat. "Your target is a derelict Vryn Hive ship," Vector announced. A hologram flickered to life above the table, showing a massive organic vessel that looked like a diseased heart wrapped in chitin. Intelligence suggests it's been dormant for 70 years, but recent scans detected movement inside. Your mission is reconnaissance and specimen retrieval if possible. The Braxian, whose name was Cod, leaned forward. And if the movement is active Vrin, then you eliminate the threat and extract immediately, Vector said. His eyes found Lily. Squad Leader Grant has tactical command. All decisions are hers. Understood? 6 voices responded in unison. Understood, Commander. 20 minutes later, they were sealed inside the simulator pod. The technology was Thorian military grade, capable of recreating combat scenarios with 98% accuracy. Pain receptors included. Cadets had died in these pods before, when their bodies couldn't handle the neural feedback from simulated death. Lily checked her squad's equipment one final time. Besides Cade the Braxian, she had Zara the Siltaraya, who had knelt to her earlier. There was also Brick, a Thorian barely 8 feet tall but built like his nickname suggested. Nyx was a shadow walker from the umbral reaches, barely visible even in full light. Corin was human, a weapons specialist from the Mars colonies. And finally, Patch, a Kresh who could interface directly with technology through biological connection. Squad 7, you are go for insertion. Vector's voice crackled through their comms. Clock starts now. The simulator walls dissolved into space. The hive ship loomed before them, a kilometers-long nightmare of organic architecture that seemed to pulse with residual life. Their shuttle approached a breach in the hull. Patch, what are you reading? Lily asked. The Kresh's antennae twitched as he connected to the shuttle's sensors. Minimal energy signatures. Whatever moved in there isn't using power systems we recognize. But there's heat, lots of it, deep inside. Could be residual decay, Corin offered. These ships were biological. Maybe something still rotting? Or something still alive, Cade growled. Lily made the call. We go in. Standard breach formation. Nyx on point? Use your natural stealth. Brick, your rear guard. Everyone stays within sight of at least 2 squad members. No exceptions. They breached the hull and entered the hive ship. The interior was worse than the exterior. Walls of hardened resin mixed with metal stolen from 100 conquered worlds. The air was breathable but tasted like copper and rot. Emergency lights on their suits cut through the darkness in narrow beams. Nyx moved ahead, practically invisible. Her voice came through comms as barely a whisper. Movement 30 meters ahead. Multiple signatures. Lily signaled for halt. Configuration? Scattered. Random patterns. Doesn't match Vrin hunting behavior. That was wrong. Vrin always moved in coordinated swarms. Always. Lily's tactical training screamed warning. Patch! Can you tap into any systems? I need to see what we're dealing with. The Kresh moved to a wall and extended a biological tendril. It pierced the organic metal, and he went still, his consciousness diving into whatever remained of the ship's nervous system. His eyes snapped open. It's not Vrin. It's survivors. Survivors? Brick's massive hand tightened on his weapon. Nothing survives on a dead hive ship. They're not surviving, Patch said, his voice shaking. They're trapped. The ship isn't dead. It's hibernating, and they're caught in its dream. Lily's blood went cold. She'd read about this in the Academy archives. Hive ships didn't just die. Sometimes they went dormant, their biological systems entering a state between life and death. And anything inside became part of the ship's unconscious processes, living batteries, forever. How many? She asked. 17 life signs, mixed species. Some have been here for decades. Zara's crystalline skin flickered with distress. We have to extract them. That's not the mission, Cadet said. Mission is reconnaissance and specimen retrieval. Lily looked at the Vraxian. They are specimens, living ones, and we're getting them out. That will wake the ship, Patch warned. The moment we disconnect them, the hive will register the loss and begin revival protocols. How long do we have once that starts? 4 minutes, maybe 5. Then this entire vessel becomes a death trap. That's not enough time to get 17 beings to the shuttle. Lily's mind raced through options. Every tactical scenario she'd studied, every lesson on impossible odds. And then she remembered her great-great-grandmother's last transmission from Kelmar Station. 3 words that had echoed through her family for generations. We hold here. Cadet's scales rippled with agitation. Hold here? Against a waking hive ship? That's suicide. No, Lily said, her voice cutting through the rising panic. It's extraction under fire. There's a difference. She pulled up the tactical display on her wrist unit. Patch, show me the ship's layout. Where are the survivors concentrated? The creche projected a holographic map into the air. 17 dots scattered across 3 chambers, all connected by narrow corridors that pulsed with dormant organic tissue. They're separated, Zara observed. We'll need to split up. Never split the party in a hive ship, Corin said flatly. First rule of Vryn combat. Lily studied the map, her mind calculating angles and distances. We don't split up. We move fast and we move together. Patch, can you put the ship into a deeper sleep? Buy us more time before it fully wakes? The creche's antennae drooped. I can try to confuse its autonomic systems, flood it with conflicting signals. Might give us an extra 2 minutes. Do it, Nix. You're our early warning system. The moment you sense the ship transitioning from dormant to active, you call it. Brick, you and Cade are on survivor transport. You're the strongest. You carry them. Zara, your people have medical training built into your biology. You assess each survivor and tell us who can move on their own. And you and Corin? Brick asked. Lily checked her weapon. We're the rear guard. When this ship wakes up, something's going to come for us. We make sure it doesn't reach the others. Cadet stepped closer. Human. Lily, this plan requires perfect execution. One mistake, and we all become part of the ship's neural network. Then we don't make mistakes. She looked at each of them. My ancestor held a reactor room for 16 hours with a welding torch. We have actual weapons, actual training, and a 5-minute window we can do this. Zara's skin shimmered with determination. For Kelmar. The phrase rippled through the squad. Even Cadet nodded slowly. They moved as one unit through the corrupted corridors. The first survivor was a Thorian, his massive body suspended in a web of neural cables that pulsed with sickly light. His eyes were open but vacant, lost in whatever nightmare the ship's dying consciousness had trapped him in. How long has he been here? Brick whispered. Biosig suggests 40 years, Zara said, her hands already working to assess his condition. His mind might be too far gone. We take him anyway, Lily ordered. Patch, disconnect him. Carefully, the creche extended his tendrils and began the delicate work of separating living tissue from ship tissue. The Thorian gasped as the connection severed, his eyes suddenly focusing. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. You're safe, Brick said in Thorian, gripping the older warrior's shoulder. We're getting you out. They found 4 more in the next chamber. A Siltari, 2 humans, and something Lily didn't recognize. A species with too many limbs and bioluminescent skin. All of them were trapped in the same neural web, their minds hijacked by the ship's hibernation cycle. Patch worked faster now, his confidence growing with each successful disconnection. But Lily saw the strain on his face. Each severance cost him. The Kresh were empathic, and he was feeling every moment of their trapped agony. Patch status, I can continue. But the ship is noticing. It's trying to compensate for the missing neural connections. How long? 3 minutes until full awakening. Maybe the next chamber held 8 survivors, all in various states of decay. 2 were already dead, their bodies kept technically alive by the ship's systems, but their minds long gone. Zara made the hard calls, identifying who could potentially recover and who was beyond saving. "We take everyone who's alive," Lily said, when Zara hesitated over a human whose body had been partially absorbed into the wall. "She won't survive transport," Zara said gently. "Her organs are already integrated into the ship's digestive system." Lily looked at the woman's face. She was young, maybe 20 standard years. Her eyes moved beneath closed lids, trapped in an eternal dream. "Then we end her suffering," Lily said quietly. "Patch, can you give her peace?" The Kresh approached and placed a tendril against the woman's temple. "I can sever her consciousness from the ship. She'll drift away. No pain." "Do it?" The woman's face relaxed. A single tear rolled down her cheek. Then she was gone. Nix's voice suddenly crackled through comms, sharp with urgency. "Movement! The walls are contracting. The ship is waking up fast." "How fast?" Lily demanded. 90 seconds, maybe less. "And something's coming from the ship's core. Something big." Lily made the decision instantly. "Brick, Cade, get the survivors to the shuttle. Move now. Zara, go with them. Keep the survivors stable. Patch, you too. Your job is done." "What about you?" Corin asked. But he already knew the answer. "Nix and I hold the corridor. You set up a firing position at the breach point. Create a kill zone. Nothing gets past you to that shuttle." Katie grabbed her arm. "Lily, this is exactly what happened at Kelmar Station. You're repeating history." She met his eyes. "No, at Kelmar they had no choice and no backup. We have a shuttle. We have weapons and we have a plan. Now move." The squad split. Brick and Cade carried unconscious survivors, while the others who could walk stumbled forward on atrophied legs. Zara guided them with gentle urgency. Patch disconnected the final survivors and scrambled after the group. Lily and Nick stood alone in the corridor as the walls began to pulse with renewed life. "I cannot see it yet," Nix whispered, "but I can feel it. Something is hunting us." "Good," Lily said, checking her weapon one last time. "Let it come." The corridor transformed around them. Dormant tissue suddenly flushed with color as blood or something like blood began pumping through veins thick as cables. The walls contracted and expanded like breathing lungs. The ship wasn't just waking up. It was remembering how to kill. 30 seconds until the others reached the breach point. Corin's voice came through comms. "I'm setting up overlapping fields of fire." Lily activated her weapon's tactical light. The beam cut through the thickening darkness and reflected off something moving in the depths of the corridor. Something that glistened. "Contact," Nick said. She had gone completely still, a shadow among shadows.
"Multiple entities. They're not Vryn."
"There's something the ship created from leftover biomass." "Explain." "Hive ships don't waste anything. When crew died during hibernation, the ship repurposed them, broke them down, reformed them into defensive organisms." Lily's stomach turned. "You're saying those things used to be people?" "They were. Now they're just the ship's immune system." The first creature emerged into the light, and Lily understood why cadets sometimes died in these simulators. The neural feedback from seeing something this wrong could break an unprepared mind. It had been multiple species once. She could see parts of Thorian carapace, fused with human bone structure and silteri crystalline tissue, 6 legs that didn't match, arms that ended in biological weapons grown from repurposed organs, and a face, if it could be called that, which held 3 different sets of eyes that didn't blink in unison. Open fire! Lily didn't hesitate. Her weapon spat coherent light that burned through chitin and flesh. The creature screeched, a sound that came from 3 different vocal systems at once, and charged. Nyx moved like liquid darkness. She was behind it before it took 2 steps, her blades finding joints and weak points with surgical precision. The creature went down thrashing. But it wasn't alone. 5 more emerged from the walls. Literally through the walls, their bodies adapted to phase through the ship's organic structure. They came from every direction at once. Rear guard! We have multiple hostiles. Lily barked into comms while backing toward Nyx. Estimate 8 to 10 combatants. Survivors are through the breach, Brick's voice responded. We're secure on the shuttle. Fall back now. Negative. They're coming from behind us, too. We're surrounded. Lily fired in controlled bursts, each shot precise and economical. Corin, do you have line of sight on our position? Affirmative. I can provide cover fire, but I might hit you. Do it anyway. We'll go low. Lily and Nyx dropped flat as energy fire streaked over their heads. 3 creatures evaporated in superheated plasma, but more were coming. The ship was fully awake now, and it was angry. Nyx's shadow form flickered. I'm reaching my limit. Can't maintain stealth much longer. Then we fight visible. Lily pulled a plasma grenade from her harness. When I throw this, run toward Corin's position. Don't look back. That's a suicide play. It's a tactical retreat with aggressive discouragement. Lily armed the grenade. On 3 sections, a creature lunged from the ceiling. Nyx caught it with both blades and redirected its momentum into the wall. It splattered like rotten fruit. 2 more were coming. The corridor was filling with them. Lily could hear the ship's heartbeat now, a massive drum that shook the deck plates. It was pushing resources toward this fight, trying to seal the breach, trying to recapture what it had lost. 3. She threw the grenade deep into the mass of creatures and ran. Nyx was already ahead of her, faster than any human could move. Behind them, the grenade detonated. The explosion in the enclosed space was catastrophic. The shockwave lifted Lily off her feet and threw her forward. She hit the deck hard and rolled. Training took over. She came up firing even before her vision cleared. More creatures were already pushing through the flames. I'm out of room to retreat, she shouted into comms. 10 more meters, Corin's voice. I can see you. Keep coming. But the creatures were faster. One of them was on her before she could react. It tackled her to the ground, its weight crushing, its mismatched limbs pinning her arms. The face, those 3 sets of eyes, lowered toward her throat. Lily did what humans do when every tactical option fails. She improvised. She headbutted it straight into the center set of eyes. Her skull cracked against its hardened bone structure, and pain exploded through her head, but the creature recoiled, stunned. She got one arm free and jammed her weapon under its jaw, pulled the trigger. The shot went through its brain and out the top of its skull. The dead weight collapsed on her. She couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Other creatures were closing in. Then the weight lifted. Brick had crossed back through the breach. The massive Thorian grabbed her with 2 arms, while the other 2 laid down, covering fire. Humans! He growled, always making things dramatic. He threw her toward the breach. Literally threw her. She flew through the air, and Corin caught her on the other side. Nyx was already there, her blades dripping with ichor. Brick! Move! Lily screamed. The Thorian turned and ran. Creatures swarmed after him. He dove through the breach just as Katie sealed it from the outside. They'd planted charges on the hull. The Vraxian detonated them, and the entire section blew outward, exposing the corridor to hard vacuum. The creatures were sucked into space. The ship's biology tried to seal the breach, but it was too massive, too sudden. Atmosphere vented in a screaming rush that lasted 15 seconds. Then, silence. The squad collapsed inside the shuttle as it pulled away from the dying Hive ship. Through the viewport, Lily watched the vessel's lights flicker and fade. It was going back to sleep, or maybe dying for real this time. She didn't care which. "Mission status," Vector's voice demanded through comms. "Report." Lily's head was bleeding. Her ribs were cracked, but she smiled. 17 survivors extracted. All team members accounted for. "Mission successful, Commander." A long pause. Then Vector's voice came back, and she could hear the pride in it. "Well done, Squad 7. Well done indeed." Cade looked at her, his scales shifting to a color she'd never seen before. Deep blue. "Respect. You humans are absolutely insane." "Yeah," Lily said, closing her eyes. "We get that a lot." The aliens laughed at the human cadet until they saw her tattoo. Then everyone went silent. Part 6, final part. The med bay was chaos. 17 survivors in various states of trauma, confusion, and physical deterioration. The Academy's medical staff worked frantically to stabilize bodies that had spent years, some decades, suspended in a Hive ship's neural web. Lily sat on a bench outside, her head bandaged, watching through the transparent walls. She'd refused treatment until every survivor was stable, the medical officer had argued. She'd simply sat down and waited. Zara found her there an hour later. "The Thorian you saved first," the Siltari said quietly, sitting beside her. "His name is Commander Rath. He's been missing for 43 years. He was declared dead. His family held mourning rites." Lily nodded slowly. She couldn't find words. "The human woman, the one trapped in the wall," Zara continued. Before Patch released her, he felt her last thought. She was dreaming about Earth, about rain. She died thinking of home. "Better than dying in a nightmare," Lily said. The door to the medical bay opened. The Thorian, Commander Reith, emerged. He was old, far older than 43 years should have made him. The Hive ship had aged him in ways that went beyond time, but his eyes were clear. He saw Lily and stopped. Then he crossed the distance and knelt before her. A Thorian kneeling before a human. It should have been impossible. "You came back for us," he said, his voice rough from decades of disuse. "You didn't leave us behind." "That's not what we do," Lily replied simply. "I know." He reached out with one massive hand and gently touched the bandage on her head. "I know because I was at Kelmar Station. I was one of the Siltari civilians your ancestors saved. I joined the military because of what I witnessed that day, because I saw what humans could be." Lily's breath caught. "When the Vryn took my ship, when they put me in that web, I held on to one memory. Your great-great-grandmother standing in that reactor room, covered in burns, weapon destroyed, but still standing, still fighting for people she'd never met, for a species that wasn't her own." His eyes shimmered. "I survived 43 years of nightmares by remembering that humans don't abandon people, ever." Footsteps echoed down the corridor. Commander Vector approached with the entire Academy command staff. Every species, every rank. They stopped in formation. Vector's voice filled the space. "Cadet Lily Grant, in recognition of extraordinary valor, tactical excellence, and embodiment of the principles that bind our alliance together, you are hereby promoted to Junior Commander. Effective immediately." He stepped forward and placed a medal on her chest. The Star of Unity, given only to those who risked everything to save lives across species lines. Your simulation score was 98%, Vector continued, the highest ever recorded. You completed an extraction that our tactical computers rated as having a 0.3% success probability. Lily stood at attention despite her injuries. Permission to speak, Commander? Granted. It wasn't just me, sir. My squad executed perfectly. Every single one of them put the mission above personal safety. They deserve recognition. They'll receive it, Vector assured her. But leadership begins with someone willing to make the impossible call. You made it. You held the line when retreat was the logical option. Just like Kelmar Station. Cady stepped forward from the assembled cadets. Commander Vector, permission to transfer to Junior Commander Grant's permanent squad? Granted. Brick stepped forward. Permission to transfer, sir. Granted. One by one, every member of Squad 7 requested permanent assignment, then others. Cadets who had mocked her that first day, species who had never worked alongside humans before. They all stepped forward. By the time it ended, Lily had 60 volunteers for a squad that only needed 7. That night, the Academy held a memorial service for the woman who died in the Hive ship. They didn't know her name. Her records had been lost when her vessel disappeared, but they knew she was human, and they knew she dreamed of rain. Lily stood before the assembled academy and spoke. She was nobody important. That's what the galaxy would say. Just another human. Fragile, weak, easy to break. She paused, but she survived 40 years in that nightmare. 40 years trapped in a dying ship's dream, and she never stopped thinking about home, about Earth, about rain. She looked at the crowd. Hundreds of faces, hundreds of species, all listening. Humans break easily, she continued. Our bones shatter, our skin tears. We die from things that wouldn't even slow down most of you. But there's something in us that doesn't break, something that looked at an unstoppable hive and said, not one step further, something that stayed in a reactor room for 16 hours, something that survived 40 years of hell by dreaming of rain. She touched the tattoo on her shoulder through her uniform. We're not the strongest, we're not the fastest, we're not the smartest, but we're here, and we don't leave people behind ever. That's what this mark means. That's what humanity means. Commander Reth stepped forward. He raised his forearms in the Thorian salute of highest respect. Then he spoke in a voice that carried across the hall. For Kelmar, for the nameless human who dreamed of rain, for every being who refuses to break, for humanity, the entire academy echoed it. Every voice, every species. For humanity. Lily stood among them, a human cadet with a legendary tattoo, and finally understood what her great-great-grandmother must have felt in that reactor room. Not fear, not even courage, just the absolute certainty that some things are worth fighting for, no matter the cost. The galaxy had laughed at humans once, had called them weak, fragile, worthless. They weren't laughing anymore.